stream. It takes forever to load in. So it says you are live, but I don't think we're live. I'm pretty sure DS has plenty of times to come up with no more books to put up in front of his box. he's saving them for the big reveal.
Hey, Hialeah's just got a box up. What's wrong with mine? Same thing.
I like it. All right, guys.
His a little better looking than mine.
Surely we're live by now. And I want to thank you all for joining us on the No Faces Comic Chat. That's right. Monday night, No Faces Comic Chat. We're all here. If any of you have a bunch of money and are looking for run fillers, I think there's an auction going on another channel. So if you're joining us later, you're catching us on the rewind, I hope you paid low dollars for those books. So, and next week we got I hope so. I hope they did well.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so. With us as always, to my, I guess, is it to my left on the screen? To my left on the screen, you're right. We've got the late, the great. Well, he's not late. Actually, he was here on time, but he's still great. DS Comics. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, fantastic. That guy, I tell you, he's a real team player. You can always spot a team player by the way that they play on the team. And similarly, although I'm sure he'll prove otherwise, we also have directly below me, we have Metarog. Say, hi, everyone. So happy to be here.
Bienvenidos todo el mundo. Estoy muy contento estar aquí con Raúl y ustedes. Oh, sorry. I was in Spanish mode. I apologize.
I heard. Somebody flick his switch.
Everyone. Greetings, everyone. Great to be here.
All right. Somebody left the translation droid on. I apologize for that.
I have trouble switching. Maybe Raúl can elaborate because, I have trouble switching between. If I speak to my mother, I speak Spanish like an hour afterwards. So I apologize.
Yeah. I believe it. And as our very, 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 very special guest, we have with us a gentleman that I've been a long time admirer of ever since he first proclaimed himself an admirer of mine. We have Hialeah Comic Bro in the house.
I am very, 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 very happy to be here. Thanks for the invite, guys. One of my favorite weekly shows, man. I'm honored to be here with you guys tonight. So cool.
Oh,
wow. This is
so glad you can make it. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm really
and of course,
I didn't know you were even going to be on here, but I'm glad that you are here.
Thank you.
It's BUB'S, and we're just living in it, and you'll probably learn that over the next hour.
Awesome.
He doesn't check the email. He doesn't open the email until 5 minutes before the stream starts to click on the link. He doesn't know what the topic is. He doesn't care. He doesn't know the guests we have. He's just, all right, I'm here. It's time to go.
Well, I think our title has something to do with invisibility because Silver's making invisibility jokes. So
that is very true.
Oh, man.
Tonight, we are Hialeah, do you want the honors to say our team name, or is that too much pressure for your first time?
I think that's too much pressure, but let me break into this slowly.
All right.
Oh,
we'll give Hialeah a break on his first time out. We are the Invisible Inkers. What do you think about that? DS first.
Meh, not much.
That's all right.
I was kind of over the alliteration, and I was like moving on to other areas, and then you brought the alliteration back, and it's all right.
See, I thought I was doing well. You said last week that you were over the alliteration, but that you were enjoying the oxymorons. So I thought, why not marry the two and have an oxymoron that was an alliteration?
Yeah, I'm not sure that qualifies as oxymoron, though. It's sort of like the Alanis Morissette version of ironic, where it's not really ironic, but okay, I'll buy it.
Well,
boy, Bob, I tell you, some days it just does not pay to get out of bed, man. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm thinking, Roger. I'm glad I didn't wear pants tonight because I've been sorely disappointed.
Oh, man.
Wow.
All
right, Roger, what do you think of it? Is it going to work for you?
Yeah, it works for me. I mean, it's not like the absolute, tip top apex, of of alliteration, but it's not bad. I like the fact that you have an IN too. So I mean, it's not even. It's more. It goes more than just the first letter. So it's sort of a second tier alliteration, which is kudos to you for that.
I appreciate your help, Roger. All right. Tonight, well, before we get into our topic, because it hadn't even been 10 minutes, let's talk about all the great people that are in the chat already this evening. We've got JPL Flash joining us, hailing all the way from across D Pond over in the big UK, and that's not University of Kentucky. I just found that out. But it's actually the United Kingdom, united under the great Boris, as he likes to say. I think Boris the Bear is a comic over here, so you might want to look into that, JPL. And we got One-Legged Book saying howdy, 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 from One-Legged Books land. And we got thanks, Chris, for joining us. Both of these young fellas, former alumni of the No Faces Comic Chat. So we thank you. We have Silverage Dave, who claims that he doesn't have a stream good enough to ever be on our show, and yet he goes live every morning at 4:30 in the morning. Every time he goes on, I can hear roosters crowing in the background. Yeah. But a great pillar of the community. And, of course, we have Area 51 coming to us from the great white north over I don't know exactly where he's at, but I know that he mentions Kamloops a lot. And I wanted to one time look up what he was saying, like where he was saying he visits this shop. And what I thought he was saying was Cantaloupes. And if any of you ever remember that song, Flip Fantasia, remember that Cantaloupe? And it was called Cantaloupe, but it was like, well, I'm not even going to sing it. You can Google that. So I kept getting that, and I kept getting music videos from 1983. And I'm like, what is this crap? But it turns out it's Kamloops, Kamloops, I think. So he's in and around that area above Oregon, like up that away. So boy, it's cold
Columbia.
out there.
British Columbia.
Yes. I think it's the only kind of Columbias we have, are the British ones. Well, and next we have Diaz Comics in here. Thank you, Diaz. Mr. Gretzky, king of the them dare Archie books. King of the Archies and Archie-related titles as well. And we got the great Tim. Now, help me out here, Roger, because I get these confused. So the comic collector, did he used to be Tim, the Canadian comic collector?
No, that's another YouTuber.
But they're both named Tim, right?
They're both named Tim, and they're both collectors, but one is Canadian and one is from St. Louis.
Well, which one's this?
This is St. Louis Tim here.
St. Louis Tim, okay.
St. Louis Tim.
Well, I knew he was still Tim because every time, when I message him back in his comments and stuff, I always say, thanks, Tim, So I knew he was still Tim, but I get them, I think the other guy may not be putting out too many videos anymore, huh?
No, and that's Tim, Canadian comic hunter, I believe, not Canadian collector, so. He's a big supporter of my channel, so I'm very
They all are. They're great guys.
Both Tims, yes, absolutely.
I'm glad to know that there's two of them, so there's more people for me to love in this world. And we got Comic Books NYC. I think that is a Javi with a K. So he's Kavi. He's part of the Avi Alliance. Avi, Kavi, and I think there's another one, Bavi or Brovi or Mavi. I think it's Javi, Kavi, and Mavi.
I don't know a Mavi.
There's no Mavi?
I don't know a Mavi. I know Javi.
Isn't there a Mavi in St. Louis?
Conquistadorks, but I do not know a Mavi.
I like them. I like all the Avis. They're good people.
They're good
people. So glad to have him. We got Hudak Comics coming from Narlands. Glad to have you. Thank you so much for joining. We got Hialeah Comic Bro. Whoa, this guy's making a double appearance. What a ham. Ben Compton liking the covers. Boy Who Had Seven came on. I think Kavi's going to be on Boy Who Had Seven's channel tonight. Maybe someone else too. So check that out later. Thank you all for being here. Bake the Snake in the house. Man, you guys are coming out to support your buddy Hialeah Comic Bro. We thank you. Thank you so much. Lots of good people here. Am I missing anybody here? Pope Cerebus, The First is the last one I've got coming into the chat. Thank you all for being here. You guys are awesome. You're the reason for the season outside the season, because we know the reason for the season of the season, and we'll get to that next week. So thank you all for being here. And Hialeah Comic Bro, I want to extend a very special thank you and you're welcome at the same time. How about that?
Perfect.
So tonight we're going to do something just a hair different. It's a fine hair. As they say in Kentucky, they say, "How are you doing?" And I've almost got this memorized, how I'm supposed to respond to make it seem that I'm one of the locals, because otherwise I don't appear to be. They say, "How are you doing?" And I'm supposed to say, "I'm fine as a frog's hair split in two," or something like that. So there you go. Does that make any sense to you guys?
Perfect. Perfect sense.
Makes no sense to me.
Perfect sense to me.
I don't like hair splitting.
Right. You don't like hair splitting?
I don't like hair splitting. I want you to be terse but direct, not hair splitting.
All right. Well, we're going to get into the chat while I look up the meaning of terse on Google. But as soon as I find that out, I'll be posting it in the link in the description below. We like to have fun with Roger's ever-expanding vocabulary. We have, of course, a great topic tonight, and this was inspired by me for you all.
You really, Bub, you really need a third hand because that back has to be padded constantly.
I told you, Hialeah. Bub's world. We're just living in it.
I'm telling you, yeah, we're just living in it. Apparently,
he's so modern.
I mean,
well, the topic for tonight
yikes.
is our Dream Team bullpen. Okay. And I thought this was perfect because I've been waiting. I've been sitting on this topic. Okay, it's been incubating. It's been burning. It's been burning a hole in my britches, as they say.
Well, you don't have any britches on. You said so yourself.
Well, I took them off so I could get this egg out.
They burned right through the britches, is what you
burn right through.
Okay,
they have ventilation now. They're easy access britches for the old reach around we talked about last week.
Oh no.
So, it's 2 weeks ago. So in any case, what we've got going on here is we're going to have a nice big love fest for some of our favorite artists. And I want to talk about our dream artist bullpens. And I want us each to give 4 artists that we would want in the bullpen. And the reason that I have, britches, the reason that I have it as a bullpen is because I don't want it to be, well, this artist is better than this other artist, or it's not like that, because in a bullpen, you never know what's going to come in and you never know whose talent you're going to need. So my hope is that we'll have a kind of a well-rounded bullpen. Unfortunately, I only plan on producing a singular type of books, so all my artists will be good at well-rounding. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And it would be interesting to see kind of what artists from what eras we gravitate towards. So as I'm sure DS only has one artist and he doesn't have a book representative of who that artist would be, we're going to go ahead and skip right on over him and go to DS Comics.
All right.
Go ahead, DS.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, I've got a stack of slabs here with my 4 artists, my dream team. And really, I like your description of the bullpen because, my favorites switch back and forth all the time, basically between these 4. And, I'll just show one and then we can move on and then come back and show another one if you want. But I'll just jump in and show one that's not going to be a surprise to anyone. And that is, of course, Alex Schoenberg. Nice. So I pulled out a couple big Alex Schoenberg books here. And Alex Schoenberg is very well known, and obviously it's not a unique pick. Everybody loves Alex Schoenberg in the Golden Age. But I've got 2 unique styles here. He does a lot of airbrush stuff, which is awesome, and this is probably my favorite airbrush cover of his. But then he also does your typical, drawing style for comic books here on Terrific number 5. So yeah, Alex Schoenberg, he's got a style. Sometimes I picked these because they're 2 of my favorites, but they're also very different styles. Not just that one is airbrushed and one is traditional, but this one is just very simple. It incorporates a lot of blue. It's just a simple, elegant sort of sci-fi scene. There's nothing really horrific about it or threatening about it. It's a cool scene. She's being carried away. you know, obviously against her will, but you know, it's just a simple sort of elegant sci-fi cover. And then on this side is the complete opposite. It's got bright yellows and reds. It's got a woman being lowered down onto a spinning wheel of blades. It's got some, you know, KKK outfit guys, fight scenes, a lot of action. You can almost hear the noise in this one, whereas this one is a much quieter. And this is a very busy, bright cover as opposed to that. So two totally different styles. And if you didn't know better, and of course the girl looks very similar in both, you know, these could easily be two different artists here. They're two different types of styles, and you know, the different styles that he uses in his art in the Golden Age, I really dig. You know, most of his work is probably timely stuff that's World War II related. I'm not so much into that. So really the Schomburg stuff I collect and I go after sort of around the edges, the fringe sort of stuff, not the mainstream core of his World War II timely stuff. So yeah, just two of my favorites of one of my favorite artists is Alex Schomburg. So there's one off my list.
Nice. Very nice. I mean, you can't go wrong with Schomburg and those covers, and you just can't go wrong. Bub, are you there?
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry, I'm here. I had my mic on mute. I forgot.
Oh.
I was just yakking away too.
Oh, I thought you were out shopping for pants.
No, I was just yakking away too. I was saying the girl in the red dress with the blonde hair, she's been attacked so many times. I can't believe there's anything left of that red dress. So, or the blonde hair.
Those are just gorgeous, man.
Yeah,
They are.
great books.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I don't have a lot of books in my collection, but I go after quality over quantity these days. So yeah, really happy to have both of these, and really lucky to get both of these because this one came up at the right time, in the right condition, in the right budget for me this year. And this one I got last year, and I just sort of stumbled upon it. It's not a book that you stumble upon, but I did. And again, it just happened to be in my budget. And, you know, 2.5 off-white to white, unrestored, complete, attached. It's all you can ask for a book like that. So
You buy when you get all these older, the Golden Age, you buy them slabbed, correct?
not always, but most of the time. I buy a lot of Golden Age raw, and then I'll clean it up and get it slabbed. But if you're buying stuff at a con or in an auction, like a Comic Link or Heritage or something, most of that stuff's already slabbed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I prefer to buy stuff like this slabbed, but it's not a deal breaker if I find it raw. You know, I had a Black Cat Mystery 50, which is like one of the top pre-code horror books, and I've since sold that, but I had that in a 7.0. I bought that raw. I drove like 6 hours to meet a guy and look over it raw, and bought that raw, and then I sent it in to get slabbed. So yeah, I mean, I'll buy raw, but for the most part, books like this in the Golden Age market are already slabbed, so that makes it easy, and it's, you know, it's peace of mind to buy a slab for a book like this, because they can have a lot of issues that you can't tell online.
That's what I was pretty. You wouldn't buy a raw one off of like eBay, right?
Yeah, I would. I buy raw stuff on eBay. You can find deals on eBay. I mean, you have to be careful. It's a good seller.
Right.
The good pictures. You got to know what you're looking for. You got to be familiar with the books, which I am at this point. So yeah, if this came up as a raw on eBay, it would definitely be on my watch list, and I would definitely go after it if the price was right. Same with this one. So yeah, I'll go after these raw if they're on eBay. But outside of eBay, you're probably not going to find these raw for the most part.
Well, good books, man.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Freaking crazy.
Well, Hialeah, you think you can take a cue from old DS? We like to let Roger go last, because if I ask, like, you see how DS followed the format? See, like I said, he's a good team player. So I said we're going to go around, right, which means everybody give one artist. When we get to Roger, he's going to shoot all four at you at once and show like 20 books. So he just can't help himself. He gets excited. So Hialeah, if you think
I apologize.
I'm going.
I'll do just
we
one.
love you, Roger. You know that.
I'm gonna go.
Go, Raul. Go, Raul. Show him.
Yeah, Raul, hit us with them.
My
Hit us
first
with
shot,
one.
I'm gonna go with Frazetta.
Oh.
the painted covers. I just recently got this one. What can you say about this guy, man? His voluptuous women. I know, Bub, you like that. The dinosaur, man. It's just gorgeous stuff, and it's detail, but there's so much. He doesn't crowd the page with with stuff, and it's just so clean. And I just love him, man. I used to collect. They used to make puzzles of his work when I was a kid. Roger, do you remember Barefoot Mailman? Roger?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Do you remember Barefoot Mailman in the malls down here?
One more time, Ro?
Barefoot Mailman. Remember?
Oh, yes.
Spencer?
Yes, I was in there. I was at Westland Mall. They had
Westland Mall, man.
Yep.
And they used to sell these like in like puzzles, and I would make the puzzles. It would have the Death Dealer. It would have some of his images, and I would glue them in, and these would be on my wall when I was a teenager, man. I just absolutely love his art.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Frazetta, man.
You can't go wrong with this guy.
I mean, he was a master through and through.
And it wasn't just all fantasy. Like this is a Blazing Combat, which is also gorgeous, and dude, the guy was just amazing. A lot of imitators, but nobody gets it right. This guy was in a league all by himself.
No, he had a few understudies, but no, nobody could emulate Frazetta to any great degree. He's really just a unique.
I think Boris
Vallejo.
Yeah, Vallejo. He was like a big. He came right after Frazetta, but he just couldn't capture the magic that this guy had, man.
Yeah, he was good, but no, he's not Frazetta.
He was good.
Yeah,
he was good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and Frazetta's got the theme. There's two things I like about the art: the theme and the execution. And the execution is. I don't know. Anybody can come up with. There's a lot of people come up with similar themes. Like a soldier, like on the Blazing Combat or Vampirella. There's a theme, and a lot of artists can come up with that theme. But then the execution is where the creativity and the skill of the artist really shines. And everybody has their own personal taste, so each artist appeals to somebody. But for Frazetta, his line work is impeccable, and
crazy.
His composition, the way he arranges the elements in each picture, and the line work and the detail, and it's not always hyper realistic, although some of them are. But it's just got every Frazetta has instantly, when you look at it, it's got a feel of creepiness, and like Area 51 mentioned in the chat, he always loves the misty backgrounds that Frazetta has. Yeah, his stuff fades away, and you can't see where it ends. But there's always a little more creepy, like what's just outside of what you can see, and it's you can always see in the background. There's images you can't quite make out as they fade away, but they're there and they're ominous, and it's a really creepy, good style, and his execution of it is phenomenal. I love Frazetta, and I probably would have considered putting him in my top 4, but I don't currently own anything by Frazetta, amazingly. So I'm glad you really, because he is awesome.
Yeah,
that really surprises me, DS.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I have, at some point, what I'd really like to get is his Famous Funnies run, which is like Famous Funnies 209 to 216, I think. And those are the ones I'm going after for Frazetta, but I don't have anything by Frazetta at all. It's kind of a travesty for me, especially as a Golden Age collector, but, it's definitely a hole in my collection. I'll get there at some point, but, it takes money. So I'm going to get there.
Oh, yeah.
It's so sought after too, DS, that to find anything you have to literally yank it away from collectors, because his stuff is so prized that it's just tough to find, especially in good shape the way you like them.
Yeah, and it's still, I think, underappreciated. I don't know if it's underappreciated, but it's definitely undervalued.
Yeah, I would say undervalued, but I wouldn't say underappreciated.
Yeah, undervalued.
It's widely appreciated, but I'm not sure why the values are so far behind some of the other stuff. Like, these books are more expensive than any Frazetta on the market, and it's insane. I mean, any Frazetta on the market is as good as this stuff, but this stuff blows that away when it comes to value. And it's like the Famous Funnies, you can pick those up in mid grades for $700-800. Now, compared to other similar stuff in mid-grade in that genre, you could be talking thousands of dollars. So it's undervalued, but it's not underappreciated. So I think the prices will catch up. So if you're looking at Frazettas, I think time to get them now is better than later.
I agree. I think that there is, when I have a few artistic appreciation groups on Facebook that I'm members of, and you know, of course, Wally Wood, Adam Hughes Fanatics, a few others. But I can tell you that the Frazetta group is very passionate, and they don't veer off their love for Frazetta very much. Like, it's very strict in that group. They only want to see Frazetta stuff. If you put up like a skinny girl from some other comic, they're like, nope, nope, nope.
No.
You don't have all that junk in the trunk, then it's not a Frazetta.
Yeah.
They're serious.
He liked the Rubenesque physique to a good degree.
Definitely.
And that also, that has to do with the kind of misty or foggy, you know, the backgrounds and the surreal kind of aura they had on his covers that kind of floated into that realm.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a very unique and honestly just a genius artist. Honestly, just a genius artist.
I agree. Very good stuff. Well, Roger, what have you got for? First of all, let me just say our first two entries, phenomenal.
Whoa.
You guys, both of them are guys I would love to have
out of the park.
bullpen.
Yeah, knocked it out of the park. Absolutely.
And so now Roger's going to bring us all down with no. I know Roger's probably got a top 20 artists in his bullpen, all for different reasons, but he's got to scale it down to 4. So give us one of those, Roger.
I know that, you know, that for me to narrow things down to, you know, single digits of most anything is a difficult proposition. But I'm going to start. I'm kind of divvying it up. I'm going to start in Golden Age, and this is an artist that, I mean, I just, for some reason, anything that I see from this artist to me is just beautiful. The detail, the shadowing, the storytelling elements of his drawing are just so, to me, are just so appealing. And Kelly Freeze, you know, is who I'm going to be picking for the bullpen. And the rationale here too is that he can do most any genre, you know, whether it be humor, science fiction, horror, or just straight drama, even romance. You know, Mr. Freeze is just a genius at being able to elicit the genre and the elements of that genre. So look at this cover here. I mean, obviously he's well known, perhaps for Mad Magazine, and EC coming forward from Mad Magazine. But he did a lot of work in the 50s and the 60s. You know, he did a great witchcraft cover, which is probably one of my holy grails. Which is
that looks hard to find.
That is really hard to find. And
I think there's one ending on Comic Book tonight.
Yeah,
that's one with all the skulls, isn't it? Like a mountain of skulls.
Yeah, it's got a redhead running away from a shrouded like Grim Reaper over a pile of skulls to run away to get away from. It's a painted cover. It
is a painted cover, and it has all those elements that I love. It has a scintilla of gothic, a scintilla of horror, of drama, of everything that you can think of, and all capsulated into that cover. But again, when you're talking about a bullpen, you're talking about somebody that you need to be able to do things. Who knows what'll come in? Who knows what genre? Who knows what specific character you'll need? But Kelly Freeze, look at this. There's part more in here, but this here, look at that's a face there, and you're seeing space throughout, and then you have the rockets shooting around. Just, you know, incredible shading and depth and detail. Never took even an inch off of his art. Everything is calculated. It's looking at it from the point of view of the admirer, which a lot of artists don't really look at that. They sometimes storytell regardless of who the audience is. Not Kelly Freeze. He knew who his audience was. He knew how to bring your eye to the different elements that you want to be looking for that cover or for that panel. And so that is why I am a big fan of Kelly Freeze.
That's a great choice, and I did not expect that.
Me neither. That's why I always love this show, man. I learn so much every freaking Monday, man. I love you guys.
Yeah, I don't know that I was necessarily expecting that, since, like you said, it's tough to get Roger to narrow it down to 4. So I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but it doesn't surprise me. Me and him have talked about Kelly Freas, you know, from pulp covers to magazines to especially that Witchcraft 5. Quite a few times. So I know me and him both like Kelly Freas. So I think he likes Kelly Freas more than me. But yeah, I'm not surprised by that pick, Roger. That's a good one.
Way to go, Raj. I guess I will go with
here's that Witchcraft, just as a sort of an addendum to what he was saying. If you want to put me on the screen, I'll show people what the one he's talking about.
It's slow. I already clicked it, but it takes forever. Okay.
I mean, that's good enough. Yeah, it's Witchcraft 5. It's a comic book with a painted cover, and this is a Kelly Freas. And yeah, so there you go. And it's pretty tough to find. This one's on Comic Link tonight. Everybody wants to go bid on it, probably 3.5, 750 probably will go for
7,000.
No, 700.
No.
That's a gorgeous cover. The green. That is gorgeous, bro.
And this one is honestly not as bright as some of the other copies I've seen. So this one might be dirty, or just, you know, it's from 1953. So they come brighter than this one. This is not the brightest copy I've seen, but give you an idea of what's going on there. So
very awesome. Thank you for showing that. For anybody who's not seen that before, that's a killer cover. Let's see. I will go with, you guys. I thought you guys were going to take some of the easy ones out. So since nobody's gone with it, you guys know that I like my monsters and them dare damsels in distress. Although they don't have to be in distress. They can be in distress. They can be in distress. They can be in distress. Sorry about that.
Pun City tonight here.
Oh, you know it.
Oh man.
So in any case, I'll start off with, since we're going with artists that are lesser known or at least not rolling off the tip of the tongue of a new collector, right? So I'm going to go with probably Joe Doolin to start off. And the reason that I picked Joe Doolin is because I love the way that he sets up a scene, okay? And so here's an example of some of his art right here. And this is some of his more pricey art, if you will. So I think this is probably the most expensive Doolin cover that I have. And of course, it has some bondage, and that's why it's expensive, because you got to fight the bondage collectors anytime. The good girl art, I like good girl art, but the bondage is irrelevant to me. But a lot of guys only go, or collectors, who knows what they are, but they they go for the strict bondage covers, and they don't care what it is. It could be like a dog bound up, or they don't care. Got a duck with his legs crossed. That whatever it is, they're after that. And this has whips. It has a whip down there, and some people go for that. So anyway, this one's a tough one to grab because of those reasons. Planet Comics number 34. Great Joe Doolin art. And again, he draws his women a little bit more, I wouldn't say Frazetta-esque, because usually their true bottoms are not, super wide. Like Frazettas, I mean, those are heavy, not in a bad way, but they're heavy. But Doolin will give you thick thighs, and he likes to draw big rib cages, like wide rib cages. Usually a small waist, but then a thick thighs and a wide rib cage. So he's a very distinctive art style to me when he draws women, and he draws men pretty much the same way. So that's his anatomy, how he draws people. But he sets up a great scene, and there's always more to see. Every time you look at one of his covers, you're seeing more and more going on. You're noticing the detail in the weapons, and in the background there's always some fighting going on. So to me, I'm choosing him because I want someone that's going to bring a big scene compilation going. But then he can also do the close-ups, as evident here in this Planet Comics number 50. So he's obviously Golden Age. Love this one. When I look at this book, I see, first of all, great, good girl art there. The guys look pretty good too. Like Adam Hughes didn't make my list because I love the way he draws women, but I really don't care for the way that he draws men. It's very Rockwell-esque with red noses and chubby cheeks. It doesn't work for me. But on the women, it does work. But Joe Doolin, I think he can draw a womanly woman and a manly man at the same time, and that is unique to me. And then look at this great detail on the skeleton's hand to get that bone structure in there. And just with that one hand and the gun, the ray gun, he set up a tense mood. It's all, and then the little things, like look at this foot pedal in the shape of a foot, like an accelerator in the shape of a foot. I mean, those little things really get my attention, and I just love seeing. And it's one of the few times that on a Planet Comics cover, anyway, that you actually see Planet Earth, which is back here. So there's always something else to see with his covers. It just keeps coming at you. So I love it. I'll throw one more up there because he can also draw monsters. Look at that. That's one of my favorite monsters. I call him the snot monster because you can see the colorist missed it, but he's got a little, little drool coming out of his snot there, snot hole. So again, nice, healthy, wide-ribbed lady with nice thighs, small waist, and then a big, nasty monster coming out. And look at this guy's breathing tank and all, and it's just awesome. Just awesome. So anyway, I hope I transferred some of my passion for Joe Doolin to you guys. Those in the chat. But if not, then I won't have to fight you too bad for these covers. When I go to buy them. So that's my setup is Joe Doolin's in my bullpen.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, really good stuff. And for that Planet Comics title, I think Joe Doolin and Dan Zolnarowicz are my two favorites for the bulk of the run. Now they're Eisner and Lufine did some early work on that, but the bulk of that title is Doolin and Zolnarowicz putting in the hours and putting out really awesome stuff. So yeah, good stuff there, Bub. I really like it.
I appreciate it.
All right, so the next one's not going to be a surprise to anyone. I picked out two that maybe people don't see too often for this artist, and this is one of my absolute favorite artists. Again, has been one of my favorite artists ever since I got into Golden Age, and that is L.B. Cole. So,
I knew that was
a
coming.
couple L.B. Cole books, and I picked out two that, again, have very different styles to them. And this one in particular, I absolutely love, and I know Roger does too. So,
Yes,
part of why I picked this. But also, again, L.B. Cole, he was the first creator-owned comic book publisher. It wasn't Image Comics; it was Star Publications, and that's this book. This is not a Star book, but he took his money that he had saved up working in the comics industry and bought Star Publications, and he ran that company. And he did almost all the cover art for everything that came out from Star Publications, starting in about 51, 52 until about 55. So this is a Star book, and this is, all right, so this is 1946, this Captain Arrow 26, so 46 to 54. So early on, he did a lot of more sort of realistic stuff, especially some of the novelty titles, Blue Bolt, Target, stuff like that. He worked on some Continental titles, and he really started to blossom as an artist. And this is one of the best sci-fi covers from the Golden Age and one of my favorite Coles. And it's got these swirling, smooth, almost cotton candy sort of artwork to it. And the colors on this are just
amazing.
Phenomenal. There's hardly any real actual primary colors on this. I mean, the yellow and, the red's not really bright red, but it's almost like, cotton candy or bubble gum sort of. But yeah, this is, just a smooth, silky, smooth style by L.B. Cole. And it's killer. I mean, this is just a killer book.
That covers
it. Else
I could look at that all day.
The Star Publications, he had more of a sort of a chaotic style, more of a haphazard, controlled explosion style. And that really blossomed when he took over Star Publications and started putting out stuff like this, where almost every inch of the cover is covered with some type of crazy movement and action and color exploding at you. And there's a lot of times stuff hidden in the background. And this is what I consider, I call this the Golden Age lava venom. It looks like venom made out of lava. The flames coming up around it. So yeah, this is just a totally different style from that Captain Arrow. And yeah, so I mean, LB Cole, there's really nothing like him, and his stuff was so outlandish at the time that he wasn't really popular at the time he was doing this work, and it wasn't until many, many decades later, only up until very recently, that he started to become a very sought after artist. So this stuff wasn't that popular when he put it out, but now these are hot books, and people appreciate this for how good it is. So two totally different styles. And these are not the most popular books of his, which is why I pulled them out. I mean, they're not the biggest books of his, but two of my absolute favorites by one of my favorite artists, LB Cole.
It looks like a completely different guy did both.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're 8 years apart, but it's the same guy. I mean, it's only 8 years. I mean, 8 years not that long in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, two totally different styles by the same artist, and it's just he changed his style. Most of his Star stuff is this type of style, and most of his earlier work is more similar to this. But even this stands out among his early work, I think, as far as the colors and the line work and stuff. But this is very representative of the Star book. This is run of the mill for Star work, but not a run of the mill piece of art, obviously. But yeah, so LB Cole, there you go. Two you might not see very often.
DS, that Captain Arrow, it's a 3.5. What? Yeah. That book looks gorgeous. What makes it a 3.5? What issues does it have?
It's pretty beat on the back. It's got a lot of dirt. It's got some tearing. It's got a big tear that's like I don't know how well that's showing up. There's a tear that's favorites. Yeah, several inches long tear on the top.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some issues on the back cover taken away from the grade, which is good because it's still a great book and the condition is decent. And the front is, 5055-ish, and all the issues are on the back. So sort of an affordable grade for this and very presentable for the grade. So
that's a gorgeous book, man. Gorgeous.
Well, thank you, sir. And this is a 4.0, and it's just it's a 4.0 overall. There's nothing major. It's just an accumulation of minor defects to a level that drops it down to a 4.0. But there's nothing major. No chunks missing. No huge tears. Not detached. There's no big stains. So really rock solid 4.0. But this is a really tough book to find. This took me a couple of years to find a copy of this. And this one, Hialeah, I did buy raw on eBay, actually.
Wow.
So I took a chance on it, but it was a dealer that I was familiar with, and I bought it and cleaned it up and got it slabbed. And yeah, 4.0 off white to white.
Gorgeous book.
LB Cole is the only artist, in my estimation, that would make me buy a romance book, because even his romance covers are just so incredible, because he has the same kind of color schemes, non-primary, very, very ostentatious, but they work. They just draw you in. It's like he knows how our mental makeup is, that the certain color schemes and the certain panel layouts will bring your eye to it and will make you want to buy that comic.
Yeah, and Matt Baker's all the rage for Golden Age romance, but LB Cole's romance stuff, he did quite a bit, and it's quite good. It got hot for a minute, but it never fully caught on. But there's a lot of it out there, and it's sort of a mix of these two styles. It's got sort of the haphazard, sort of full, filled up covers, but not as crazy because it's the romance. But it's got a lot of colors like this, and he's got some really, really top-notch romance stuff. And it's some of it's pretty affordable. I mean, it surprises me. I know everybody's going crazy over Matt Baker, but LB Cole's romance is rock solid stuff. If you're into that,
absolutely, yeah.
Sure looks good to me.
Yeah.
Well, we got, let's see, Hialeah, you're up next. Real quick, though, we've got a couple people that are jumping out of the chat. Roger, would you not mind just shouting out some of our newcomers to the chat? And thanks to everyone who's still here. I know there's a lot of other live streams going on, which is uncharacteristic. Usually we're all by our lonesome on Monday nights, but there's about 3 other live streams going on right now. So
yeah.
Go ahead, Roger.
I'm not sure where you left off, but we got Broke 'Cause of Comics, one of my favorite names here on YouTube. We got Unruly Simeon in the chat. My buddy did he's a big Graders Notes fan, and he also took my place once in a Graders Notes. So thank you very much for that. Pope Cerebus I is in the chat. Mr. Gretzky. Well, I think we already talked about him. The Archie collector extraordinaire. From Heroes to Icons, Jace is in the chat. How you doing, buddy? My brother from another mother. And some guy named DS Comics is in here. Yeah, he's okay.
He's your old time.
He's okay. He's okay. One-Legged Books was in here, but he's got to go. Chris, I just heard that he's got a new artist for issue number 8 of The Amazing Adventures of Superior Sam. So that's going to be exciting because that series is magnificent, as Bub and I know. Jackson Roykirk, one of the most knowledgeable guys on YouTube here. He's a fabulous supporter of my channel, and I love when I get a comment from him because it's always something cool. And we got Super Russ in here again, one big supporter of all our channels, and Century Stir Fry is in here. He just dropped a video today with a giveaway, so everybody go down there and enter that giveaway. It'll be on Thursday's roundup, but it'll be on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Roger. Ever since you started that daggum roundup,
yeah,
I can't win a contest. I go in there and there's like a barrage. As soon as your Thursday hits, there's a barrage of entries, and my little name just falls at the bottom of the fishbowl every time.
Let me get my violin out, Bub. Let me get my violin out.
Would you please?
Come on.
I didn't know Cuba had violins.
I've won a bunch of contests. You just got to enter, and the odds will catch up. Don't you worry.
It's true, Bub. I mean,
I wasn't going to
contest I've ever entered. I've never lost a contest.
The fix is in. That's what's going on.
DS is like still rubbing that in from almost like 6 months ago, or more than that, maybe.
I have won every single contest I've ever entered on here.
Oh boy. Oh, Raul, you see what I got to put up with every Monday here? All this back
Not easy,
forth,
bro. Fossey.
I know Fossey. All this passive aggression. I mean, it's just what I got to put up with. It's just it's just my
Who's passive?
Well, that's true enough. It's just overt aggression, I should say. I'm sorry.
That's right. I don't beat around the bush. I plow right into it.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. But I love these two guys. I wouldn't have it any other way because that's I'm a stickler for those kind of things. I love my guys the way they are. All natural. That's why I don't like the signatures and the slabbing and all that stuff. Give me it the way God intended, or put it on the spinner rack.
Well, good deal. We love you, Roger. Thank you for shouting out the chat, and everybody in chat, thank you for being here. As we always say, we know you have your options, but we're glad that you're just partial to us tonight. We thank you for that. Raul, what do you got there, brother? Who's your next pick?
I'm gonna knock this out. I'm actually gonna put somebody that he's not my favorite artist, but what can you say? I've learned to appreciate him this year, and that's Jack Kirby, man.
Ooh.
He's not my favorite artist, but his composition, his action is second to none, man. He put so much into it. The art's not my favorite. I'm sorry, but man, just the action and the composition, kind of like what DS was saying about Frazetta, the composition, the layout. It's just second to none, man. You think superhero, and you just go to freaking Kirby. And this is my favorite all-time Kirby cover. I just love this cover to death. It's
wow.
Thor 169. The outline of Galactus, the background, all the guys going on, and then just a simple Thor. It's just gorgeous, man. I never really liked Kirby, but I've really learned to appreciate him this past year. And now I love the guy. And, what can you say? King Kirby, pretty much the name says it all. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you, Raul. I didn't really, when I was collecting comics, I was like, this stuff is a little too blocky.
Yes.
It's right. And then as I got older and I looked at more beyond just the obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, look at the storytelling elements. Look at the way that, like, Thor is a very good title because Asgard, the majesty and the royalty and the fealty of that whole universe. He brought that out, with that, all the way that he drew, like, blocky, but it's very, very dynamic, very, like, just regal, And I agree. But as I got older, I began to look beyond that. I'm like, this guy was amazing. So I'm with you 100%.
And then all the characters that he brought to life, there will never be another one like this guy, man. This guy, for superheroes, hands down, nobody will ever be there will never be another Kirby, never.
Yeah, my favorite Kirby work, and I'm with you, Hialeah. He's not my favorite artist.
Yeah.
Historically, he's a giant, obviously, but the artwork itself, I'm not a huge fan of. But I am a huge fan of his interior art on Silver Age Thor. That stuff just blew me away when I was younger, and that was part of the reason I fell in love with comics. Was when I got into comics enough that I started looking, well, what else is there that's out there from before? What's the early stuff? What's the big books? And I would go to the comic store and I would go to their back issues and pull out Silver Age Thors and read them. And his artwork in the Silver Age Thor stuff blew me away, and I still think that's his best artwork that he's ever done is the Silver Age Thor stuff.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, his stuff's very theatrical.
Yes.
And it's almost like every cover he does, it could be a poster.
Yeah.
And it's not my favorite artwork, but he's skilled, no doubt. And my favorite stuff of his is on the interior. And he's just a giant in the history of comics as well, and well deserved. And his Golden Age stuff, he did the first 10 issues of Captain America in the Golden Age, and that stuff is. I mean, yeah, it's stood alone even back then as being phenomenal works of art, and it really blasted comic books into, the celebrity status of American art.
And you know what else, man? Just the amount of stuff that he put out too.
Yeah.
God, there's so much Kirby out there. It's crazy.
He worked. What was his first work? Strange Worlds, was it? Like late 1930s? And he worked into the 21st century.
Is it that far back?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My
he was either very late 30s or early 40s.
Yeah, I mean, he worked on, I think he worked on Red Raven 1, which is like a 1939 book.
Right.
And I'm not a huge Kirby scholar. But yeah, he did some work in the late 30s, and then in the 40s he did plenty of it. And really, most of the stuff people like of his is Silver Age, because he's the one who created a lot of these great superheroes for Marvel. But prior to that, he was already sort of a superstar in comics.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, his legendary run in Fantastic Four is one that is often touted. Because Lee and Kirby did the first 100-some issues there, and of course you got Silver Surfer, Galactus, all those guys that were created, with Lee and Kirby. But his stuff goes back even to DC, when he was in DC, did Challengers of the Unknown and all that stuff, and just an amazing artist all the way through.
Just amazing.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of things that are being said in the chat and also being said between us is that even if it's not purely about the art, you want to have a lot of that creativity in your bullpen. You got to have somebody in there who can develop and flesh out characters and give them distinctive looks and styles. And I think Kirby was a master at that.
Yeah.
So I think, and I know, who am I skipping? I'm skipping Roger, right? So, but actually, I'm going to just throw up a couple of books because I had Kirby on my list as well. So we'll go ahead and put those up real quick. Cap 103, one of my favorite Kirby covers. I just love it. Look at all those nasty dudes in the background. I love it. Great Red Skull, big hands. Just love that book. And probably my favorite Kirby Cap cover is 106. Yeah, I just love that.
Too. Yeah.
Haymaker out. Love that book. And to me, when I think about, in the bullpen, I want somebody who can develop a good character. I want someone who can draw them in a unique style. And I'm not big on the abstract styles. DS and I have an ongoing debate over what's that idiot's Sam Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he wears me out.
Yeah, the over stylized guys. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
and some of the McFarlane stuff too, like the McFarlane Hulk. Gosh, that's just ugly. To me,
terrible.
I love the McFarlane Hulk.
It's like he's made of mud.
I love it.
I do too. I like McFarlane Hulk.
Well, you see, that's how we differ. That's why we have different guys on here.
That's right. We split the panel.
Yeah.
So that happens, but I think that one of the things that you want in your bullpen is you want somebody who can develop good characters and good styles, and then you also want somebody who's going to be very distinctive. And just even though I'm not crazy about a lot of McFarlane stuff and a lot of Sam Keith stuff, there's no doubt when you're looking at a McFarlane or a Keith that's what you're looking at. There's absolutely no doubt. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with Kirby. When you see something by Kirby, I don't even know if I know what a Kirby mark looks like. I know he didn't put a bunch of them on his books anyway, but it doesn't matter. I know if somebody showed me this, I don't have to know anything except like a small section of it, and I would instantaneously know that that's Jack Kirby. So I appreciate that too. So, all right, Roger, I know I skipped you. But I didn't see any sense in going all the way around to get back to Kirby again. So go ahead, Roger. Who you got next?
That's quite fine. There are some like pseudo Kirby imitators. Like I did a video today, I think, or yesterday. I'm showing off my my Defenders run, and I got one cover there, and I was like, I think that's Kirby or Keith Giffen, because Giffen kind of had a Kirby clone era. At his time, but I did find out it was definitely Kirby though. But I agree, it's very distinctive otherwise, especially his much later stuff after when he went to DC and he came back to Marvel. Very distinctive, very blocky, very very dark lines. When he got older, he got a little bit much more rigid on his figures. But anyway, yeah. But you're right. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Well, I appreciate you giving us your fellow there, Metarog. Next up, we have
no. That wasn't my entry. That wasn't my entry.
But for once, I want to do the no faces. Let's do the why no faces, because we're actually right at the 8 o'clock mark. We rarely get it. So here we go. The why no faces for this evening. You know him, you love him. If you don't know him, you may still love him. If you have no idea who he is, check with your family. Your family might know him. Your wife may love him. Who knows? But Diaz, tell us what's going on here. Is somebody? What are these people on drugs? What's going on here, Diaz?
Well, they are on something, and what they are on is called pause, and it affects everybody differently. And we're about to see how this person is affected by the use of pause.
All right, did it go? Curses!
No, but cool background. There's a no face background.
Very cool.
That is very cool.
No face Iron Man and no face Hulk.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh no!
Oh, you got it.
I love this one. And now, Roger, I'm going to have to explain this to you very carefully because I know that you're a teetotaler, okay? But every now and then, you dabble into a substance that is not approved of by the general population, okay? And if you notice, right here, this is the decision you have before you go into the store because you gallon of milk, okay? So you're outside, you're in your car, you just took a whole handful of paws, and you don't want to go in the store, but you got to go in the store. And you think, maybe if I just keep my head down, nobody will notice I'm on pause. And then somebody says, hey, bro, is that you? And you just got to do your best to look like no matter what you've taken outside, you're still doing okay.
Oh, man.
Oh my God, you guys are too funny.
There we go.
Oh, boy.
You guys are too funny. I should have known.
Oh, man. I tell you, from now on, whenever you ask somebody to be a guest in the show, they're going to say nope. No, thank you. Nope. Ain't happening.
I should have known. It's a setup.
Oh, that is really cool. That is really cool. Of course, you know, if you are in that scenario, Raul, probably the Hialeah hat is not a good idea.
No.
You know, just as a
no. I'll leave it at
precaution,
home.
you know, because
I'll leave it at home. Too funny.
that's like, you know, robbing the bank and, you know, you're having your ID tag on you, you know, so just it's not a good idea. You know? That's classic stuff, man. Love it.
Setup.
Thank you. Thanks, Hialeah Comic Bro, for being a good sport.
You're welcome.
This was ambush style. We don't usually do that, but I said last week or 2 weeks ago that from now on, if anybody wants to be on the No Faces comic chat, we're gonna do a Why No Faces on them. So there you have it. You're fully inducted now. Thank you again.
Awesome, man. I've been accepted.
All right, Roger. We've held them at bay long enough. Roger, tell us what your grand design for your, what are we up to? Number 4 for you. So your 4th guy.
No, my second guy.
Your second guy. Yeah. All right, Roger, I'm going to do you a favor. Go ahead and give us 2, 3, and 4 in a rapid fire, and we'll see if we can get through this tonight. What do you say?
Okay. All right, real quick. Obviously, you know where this is going. George Perez. Not because he has the same last name as I do, but because we're not related, although I have met him a couple times. Just because, once again, you know, when we're talking about
somebody,
at a
family reunion?
What was that?
Did you meet him at a family reunion?
No, I met him at a con.
Oh, okay. All right, go on.
Yeah, actually, that's a story for another day. But you know, when you're talking somebody that has an incredible work ethic, George Perez, this man literally sometimes would go all night, sleep for a couple hours, wake up, go all day again, and then he would switch titles and he would go another, 20 hours, go to sleep for a couple hours, and then come back, and just an incredible work ethic. If there was a goal for him to achieve as far as, either a cover or a story, he even took over some titles because people couldn't keep up with the work. But it never lacked. His work never, it was never substandard. He never took a panel off. He never took anything off. Never took a page off. Never took a face off. And when it comes to multiple characters, and a lot of you're talking about a bullpen, you're going to have some comics that are team books or that include crowds, etc. And then you got George Perez there who will churn that out, will make it logical, will have a layout that makes sense. And as a storytelling artist, there are very few, if any, I would put up front of George Perez. All his stories flow, they make sense, they follow a script, the scripter. But not only that, even if you took off the script, you could tell what was going on because of how well he artistically tells a story. And that is to me, that's what I have a problem with the modern books nowadays. I've read a few. Man, those things, if you took out they're artistically driven, but it's all about the big event, the splash, trying to outdo the previous comic. Not George Perez. Whatever the story was, he gave it the measure that it needed. Whether it was a battle, whether it was a protracted scene of dialogue and something that had to progress the story into the next issue. Again, look at this one here. Multiple elements, foreground, background. Notice the sizing of the characters is correct. Notice that how he got things into a panel where it doesn't look crowded, even though it is a crowded cover. And that is just the talent that he had. Of course, Bigglesworth, I don't think he's in the chat today, but he was the one who sent me the signed George Perez comic, which is like just a treasure here in the Meta Cave. This is a Kirby cover, but George Perez did the interior art. So again, for all those reasons and many more, as far as if I had my druthers and you said, everybody else, no, you can only pick one guy to do a comic or a story or a graphic novel, George Perez would be my guy.
Nice. Nice. Give us another one, Roger.
Okay, another one. We're going to go with another more modern master, and that is, I know Hialeah is a big fan, John Byrne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're, again, to me, it's like almost 1A, 1B, but I put George Perez just a scintilla above Byrne because of
now, Roger,
mm-hmm.
I covet my scintillas very closely.
Okay.
And so I would give my scintilla to Byrne alone. I'd say scintilla all the way into the Byrne, and that's it.
But what I mean is that as far as Perez can do it all, but he really shows his druthers when it becomes multiple characters and how he can differentiate the shapes and the faces. Byrne can also do that.
Yes.
But his crowd scenes are just again just a tick before. He doesn't really do that many crowd scenes, but when you're talking about X-Men with all these characters, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Sentinels, technology, you're talking about mutants with different physical characteristics, metal, flying and flames and power manifestations. When it comes to those elements and the way that he can meld them into the story so that it doesn't, again, when we're talking about panel layouts, again, he does a storytelling element in his artwork. He doesn't just put it out there. He thinks about what the story is and what the next panel is going to be and how it logically applies to the panel he's drawing now. So it's almost like a chess game with John Byrne. He knows what's coming up, and he knows what the move will be now, so that later on he will be in the winner's circle. So again, just very dynamic, incredibly crisp and tight pencils. You never see anything flying off. You never see anything that's anatomically incorrect. Everything is just so sharp. It's almost he has almost like a picturesque way of drawing things, that if you take a picture, John Byrne could almost trace it, and you can trace his art and it would almost be like a picture because it just is so natural. One of the most naturally gifted artists I have ever seen. And again, in a bullpen like this, you need somebody with that realistic style, because there's going to be lots of drama in these comics at some point. And John Byrne is the master of fleshing out those kinds of stories.
Fantastic. Unruly Simeon likes Kirby, Cassidy, Byrne. So Byrne made the list. And I don't know that last one. Logjam?
Logjam. Oh, yeah, it's a tie for fourth. He doesn't know who he can pick. He's got plenty of others,
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I was thinking, is that Humberto Logjam?
No.
I think he's from Hialeah too.
To echo something that Centauri said that you put on the screen that a couple of us agreed, I don't need to repeat it. You can see, everybody sees it there. But when people ask me, which is never, what's wrong with the modern comic book art? So if anybody wants to ask me what's wrong with the modern comic book art, my answer would be, go look at George Perez and you will see what a non-lazy background looks like. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a detail for the entire panel, not just the two characters in the front of the panel. And there's so much laziness in modern art that if you go look at George Perez, you will see how to do it right. That's what I think of George Perez. Detail for the entire, the panel is the work of art, not the one piece in the front of the panel. It's the entire
not
panel.
the foreground. Yeah, not just the foreground. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that, I think that, the work ethic previously, and those Bronze Age artists and the long hours and the kind of not really good pay, kind of forced them to be that good, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to make a living at it. They had to be good, and they had to be fast, and they had to be on time.
Yeah, I feel like it used to be a blue collar profession for hardworking guys, and now it's a social media thing for millennials. Yeah, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but
yeah, a little bit.
But that's
I agree.
That's me getting old, so being old and crotchety, so whatever. But you see where I'm coming with that. So put it in a more polite terms, and that's what I mean. So
We're getting a lot of good lists here.
If you put it in more polite terms, that's what he means. I love it.
I can be
All right,
abrasive.
Roger, you got one more?
Everybody knows what I'm saying, and I think everybody knows why I'm saying that. And you may agree or disagree, but it can probably be put in a better way than I would put it. So anyway, but
I got one more.
Ever, and he's got all burlap furniture, so he gets a little burned from time to time. Go ahead, Roger. What's that last one you got for us?
I couldn't find my examples, but real well for this one. But Simon Comics is not in the chat, but I'm going to go with Joe Simon here because I'll tell you why. Though these artists that I have showcased, I'm talking about my 4 artist bullpen, right? And they have to work as a team. Joe Simon was such a talented inker as well as penciler, okay? But his inking was so complimentary. Now we talked about the first 10 issues of Captain America in the Golden Age, right? Joe Simon was co-artist on those books, right? And his style was, again, very he complimented the artist. How can I say this? When Kirby put down a figure, okay, and we're talking about essentially he put down a line drawing, and the penciler has to fill in, has to give it depth, has to give it the nuances so that it makes sense and it comes out rather than just a line figure or like a vector on a page. And beyond that, he could embellish the penciler to the point where when he knew what the story elements were, he could make the character seem either more stiff, more fluid, or more in motion or more static. He had a talent for being able to be a complementary inker, and a lot of inkers, they sometimes overpower the penciler to the point where it looks rubbish. It looks either way too we've talked about this on Graders Notes. It looks way too dark, or it looks way too nonsensical, because it's not the artist, the penciler and the inker are not synced together. They're not on the same page. One has one vision, the other has another, and because of that, you get there's no continuity in their art. But Joe Simon was a penciler's inker. He knew how to do it. He knew how to do it so that it fit in the context of the story. He knew how to do it well, and he knew how to do it so that the story elements were preserved after he inked it. So that's why I think Joe Simon, again, he hasn't done work, and obviously he passed away many years ago. But he didn't do work, I don't think, past the 70s. But when you look at his work and Harvey and I forgot the company that he had that he created. Again, Simon Comics would know this better than I do. And for Marvel, for Atlas, outstanding inker. And if needed, in a pinch, he could do incredible pencils as well. So for a versatile bullpen, I pick Joe Simon.
Nice. I like Simon, of course. And if you ever do run into Simon Comics, be sure to remind him that it's and Simon, not Simon and Kirby. He appreciates that. In fact, if any of you ever watch any of his videos, go ahead and put that in all the comments.
Look what it says
Kirby
there.
and Simon.
Look what it says there.
I know, but he'll argue the other way. So make sure you tell him on there, Kirby and Simon.
Here too.
All right, we're picking
you're a rabble rouser, Bub. You're a rabble rouser of the first degree.
I'm the original rouser of rabbles. I tell everybody, I go through the neighborhood and they post signs up about me and say, hide all your rabbles because Bub's will. All right. Postman's there. So I'll go real quick. And for my last couple up, I already had Kirby taken by Hialeah comic artist thief over there. So so I'll be quick with these because everyone can see these coming a mile away. Dave Stevens,
course.
Because I like dudes in jetpacks and women with beautiful inking lines. So I take, and he also draws good sequences and facial expressions that are a little bit on the cartoonish side. So you don't see, like most of the people we've mentioned are going for some type of realism or some type of striking result, whereas his can be a little more playful, his interior arts especially. Here's another example of some great kind of sci-fi work and inking. And I think, for my money, he's got the best legs in the business. I think Dave Stevens does the best legs. He's my favorite leg artist. And then I'll combine that. We've been talking a lot in the chat about all the underground art and stuff like that. Harry Crumb. There we go. I think it's Robert Crumb, right? But anyway, he's been mentioned a few times in the chat. And I like Wally Wood. So if I'm going to go with somebody that was underground born and really made his way, he also had his own comic company for a while there. So I'm going to go with Wally Wood. And this one is penciled by Wood and inked by Dave Stevens. I just absolutely love it. Here's some more great action. Another great. I mean, this is just amazing. This is perfect Wally Wood there. Love it. And of course, a co-creator of Daredevil, of Power Girl, just great to have on the creator side as well, and create a lot of his own original characters and flesh them out to be unique. So those are my last two picks.
Who was the previous one? I'm
Let's
sorry, I had to go get the mail.
Dave Stevens. Dave Stevens.
Yeah, Dave.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Bub. I thought I knew your four going in. I thought you were going to go with Stevens, Wood, Doolin, and Bud Root, and then maybe Neil Adams might sneak in there. I didn't see Kirby.
I thought Bud Root would be in there.
I thought Bud Root would be in there, and I thought Neil Adams would edge out Kirby.
I thought maybe Cassidy was going to be in there.
I thought about Cassidy. Somebody in the chat mentioned Cassidy too. I love Cassidy's art, especially his interior work. And if I was probably going to focus on the interior of the book, he would have made the list. But I think Wood can do the interior just about anything. So I figure I'll let him do the interiors on most of it too. And Kirby's interiors can be fantastic as well. So I was just, and Bud Root, I already have Wood, I already have Stevens, and honestly, as much as I love Bud Root, you can't tell me that these aren't guys who inspire him. I met Jim Steranko a couple of times. Last time I met him, I was wearing a shirt that had some Wally Wood art on it. And he told me, he said that right there, he said that was one of my good friends and I miss him dearly. And I said, yeah, Wood was amazing. He said, absolutely. And I told him, I said, honestly, Jim, I said, he was my favorite artist, probably of all. And he looked at me funny and I said, don't worry. I let you sign my books before I told you that you were my second favorite artist. And he said that was fair. He would take second to Wally Wood. So anyway, so I think that when I think about all the good girl artists, the modern good girl artists, which I really enjoy, and even Adam Hughes too, and I don't know, whatever Art Germ does with his computer, when I think of all those guys pumping out the art, I really think that they're emulating a lot of what Wood and Stevens did. So that's all.
Yeah, good picks.
All right. You're up, buddy.
All right. So my last two, this one, apologies in advance to Bub. You may want to turn away for this one. But another Golden Age artist, primarily known for his sci-fi, and I only have one book by him, and that is Lou Fine. And here is Planet Comics #1. I think his work is summed up by the logo on the top here, Weird Adventures in Other Worlds, the Universe of the Future. So, and this actually hit the newsstands in late 1939. The date is January of 1940 on the book. So late 39 newsstand hitting book. But his stuff is just, for sci-fi, it doesn't get much better. And just good line work, just the details on everything, especially the mechanical stuff, the suits, the guns, the tools, all the accessory stuff that's in the images, and then really good monsters, a lot of cool action, just really good sci-fi stuff. You know, he did some early Fiction House work, which is good, and then I really like some of his work for Fox Features in the 40s, and that stuff is tough to come by and very expensive, so that's why this is my only Lou Fine right now, Planet Comics #1. But let me show you the Lou Fine Grail that I've got here, and I don't own it yet. Hopefully one day I will own this. This is the Action 1 with me, tied with probably Suspense Comics 3, which is an Alex Schomburg, but this is Fantastic Comics 3, and this is the Lou Fine Grail, best robot cover ever, and just the detail in this thing, and the composition is just one of the best works of art in comics ever. So this is one of my all-time grails right here. This would be like...
Yes, you didn't. You didn't.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. I was opening up your package here. I can't believe you.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. So that's Fantastic Comics 3. So that's that. So let me show you my last artist, non-Golden Age. So my last
Golden Age.
Bernie Wrightson.
Oh, that's fair.
Everybody, Bernie
that's
Wrightson.
a good one.
I love the horror, and I love Bronze Age horror. You know, Golden Age horror is good, and then Silver Age, there basically isn't any. It's superhero dominated. And then the Bronze Age horror came back out, and with a vengeance when Bernie Wrightson did it. So these are my two favorite current Bernie Wrightson books, in matching 8.0s with off-white to white. And, you know, everybody knows what they are. This is a Super Spectacular 4. I really like the back on this. It's just basically the version of that.
That's so cool.
And of course, House Seekers 92. So yeah, Bernie Wrightson rounds out because I like horror, and, you know, sort of has a Frazetta sort of style to it.
Yes.
His line work. So I really feel like he's the Bronze Age version of Frazetta. I know Frazetta was in the Bronze Age doing work, but for me, Frazetta is a Golden Age artist, and Bernie Wrightson is a Bronze Age artist. That's how I see them, and they're very similar to me. And so Wrightson, my non-Golden Age top artist.
I agree.
No, that's that. You know, I didn't even think of. I didn't think of Wrightson actually. He might have been on my list.
Yeah, I've been putting a lot of Wrightson. I mean, anybody who follows me or knows what I collect, I mean, you know, I like Wrightson, and people just assume I'm always Golden Age, but it's basically Golden Age and then Wrightson. So pretty accurate. But
well, that's a good that's a good bullpen you got there. I mean, oof.
Yes. He was on my honorary mention, but I'm glad as long as he's in someone's bullpen tonight, I can be a happy man.
Yeah, we can't leave him alone.
Hialeah. No, you can't leave Wrightson off the list. He's got to make it.
Yeah.
Hialeah Comic Bro, you still have at least 2, right, to show?
I'll bring it home, and I'll be quick because I got Bernie Wrightson also.
Awesome.
Wait, hold on. Let me get you on full screen. All right.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. I love that one. That's an 8.0 right there. Yeah. I love me some.
All right, there you
go. This cover right here is probably one of my favorites of his.
Oh yeah.
I love that cover. The action, the line work. Classic. I even like I almost prefer his art in black and white. And then I'm gonna close it out with Neil Adams. And this is my favorite Floating Heads cover. Every face has a story. They are distinct. His realism, his anatomy, man, just spot on. And this book I actually saw on this show, and I had to go find it because of DS. Just classic.
There you go. I like it.
I didn't even know this book existed until you showed it, man, and I just fell in love with it. So
awesome, man.
I just got to go with Neil Adams, man. You can't go wrong.
He's got a few very similar works to that one, but I think that is the best of the group that are like that. He's got a magazine, Monsters Unleashed, that's very similar to that, but I prefer this cover to that one.
It's just great, man. The girl's face is just, oh my God, it's just so good, man. It's just, he's excellent, man. You can't go wrong with Neil Adams. Neil Adams.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. Oh man. So Roger, we already went all 4, right?
Yep.
So everybody's got all 4. Roger dropped out for a minute because he had phone issues. He's saying, I hate to sign off without him. We're getting close. And I think he was
in the mail.
He was doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, maybe he'd
He
want
got phone issues.
show what he got in the mail there, but
It sounded like it, but he's off somewhere sweating right now, I reckon. Well, I think it was interesting. We had a couple of repeats, right?
He said be right back, phone issues. So
Okay. So we had Kirby show up twice, right?
Yes.
So I think that means he gets an instantaneous addition to our collected bullpen, right?
okay.
We had Wrighton show up twice. So he gets an instantaneous add to the bullpen. And then all the other ones were different. I think that's amazing.
That's pretty good.
There were 4 of us, right? So that's 16 artists we told and only 2 repeats.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's not even the only title that repeated was Planet Comics, which oddly enough, compared to all the other stuff. But yeah, the only title that even repeated was Planet Comics.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show the breadth of talent out there and how you can really just there's so many good artists. It's one of the reasons that I love the hobby is that it never gets boring.
No.
Sometimes I get tired of collecting a certain artist or a certain run, and then all I have to do, like Hialeah said, is watch a live stream or a haul video, and I see something that grabs my attention so hard that I can't stand it. I have to own it. I have to go out and get it. I have the must-haves in the worst way. And so, when that happens, I just love. I get reinvigorated in the hobby all over again.
That happens to me all the time.
Roger, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we got you. I love
Yeah,
it,
the
bro.
phone-
I love it when it happens. It makes me so happy. So, Roger, are you wanting to show something off? You just got walked through the door?
Yeah, man. I mean, the mailman says, "Man, you wouldn't believe what a day I've had. His little truck broke down, and he said that he had to order another one, and then that one got a flat tire."
Oh, God.
Because he's like this is the most punctual mailman. I mean, he's always here by 3, and I'm like the last guy in his round. Well, anyway, so what happened, folks? What's happening here is that these the DS and Bub. I don't know if you guys conspired.
We
here,
did not.
but you did not. Okay.
No.
Well,
No.
okay. They both sent me packages that got here the exact same time. All right?
Oh, wow.
And I just got like texts with the tracking numbers, no explanation, no nothing, right? So I was like, why? So they're obviously they're just being the great guys that they are. So let me start with Bub, all right, because his came in a little box here, and then he sent this note to me. He said, it says, "Roger, Merry Christmas. I know you have a love for your fellow humans that is greater than commercial giving, but please accept this as a thank you for a great year of comic friendship, Bub."
Wow.
You got me, Bub. You got me. You got me hard. And then when I see what's inside, let me just show you. That, folks, is a Master of Kung Fu first appearance on a shirt. My favorite character, by the way, Starlin was on deck for my bullpen.
Oh, I bet. I wondered about that.
I had him too, bro. I just couldn't decide.
It's so tough to narrow down to 4, guys.
Oh, man.
That was tough.
Bub, this
6 would have been better. I'd have been happier with 6.
This is beautiful, man. I mean, this is beautiful. I mean,
Super cool.
I mean, I'm gonna wear this every chat. I mean, this is beautiful, man. I mean,
That might be the only one out there because I don't think that's on. I've seen T-shirts with that on it anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it, Bub, but
I had it made custom.
you had to make you're much better than I deserve, Bub. Much better. Thank you so much, man. I mean, that is, and this is like, I love this material. This is not a cheap T-shirt. This is like quality
Oh,
stuff.
it's soft.
Oh,
It's soft as a rear end.
oh.
Roger. I can't wait to see it on you.
What was that?
I can't wait to see it on you.
Yeah, me either. Remember, I'm revealing everything at 1,000 subs, so that's going to be on when I do the reveal, right? And then if that already, it doesn't cause insomnia, then DS sent me a package, and well, let me just show you I'm a huge fan of the promotional comics, right? And DS had these General Electric. Let me see if I can straighten my camera up. Had these General Electric. These are more educational comics. They came out they came out starting in the 40s all the way through the 60s. And I don't know which ones these are right now. I have to look them up and all that. Man-Made Magic. I don't have this one, DS. I know for a fact I do not have this one. Our Place in Space. I don't have this one either. These are beautiful. These are all newsprint. It's no glossy cover. They were made cheaply to educate the public on different aspects that General Electric was working on. Okay, I have this one, not this variation. The Story of Light.
Wow.
Electricity
That's so
Around
cool.
Us. These are all just beautiful shape, DS. I can't believe you sent me all these, buddy. Network of Power. And that's what he sent me with these. Now, that would have been...
I had a whole lot of those and for years. And what I did eventually when I downsized, I only kept the high grade ones. So those are all like, 8.0 and up grades of just newsprint stuff. So
Wow.
Yeah, these are beautiful, buddy. And by the way, his box, that I don't think an atomic bomb would have penetrated this box. There's bubble wrap.
It's ridiculous.
It's like hermetically sealed. It's like it's got holy water. I don't know what he put on here, but I mean this thing was like seriously amazing for the amount of comics that's in there. If you ever buy something from DS, you can assure one thing, that is going to get to you in the shape that he left it. He sent it. Okay. Ah, DS. There's one more thing here. I can't believe you did this, man. I can't believe it. I had this comic in my collection and I can't find it. And it's one of those, and now it's getting expensive. And I know he had a copy, so I asked him, "Hey, how much did you pay for it?" And he was like, he told me the amount. I was like, "Geez, I'm gonna have a hard time getting it." So I'm assuming you pressed this and you cleaned it because this thing is gorgeous.
Oh my goodness.
Here you go, guys.
Oh my goodness.
First Brother Voodoo, Strange Tales 169.
Oh wow.
and that's actually a different copy. The one that everybody saw, I still have. I felt like you deserved one that was a little better. So that was a different one that I went out and got you.
Well done.
Yes, man.
And it's not perfect. It's got, when you see it, it's not, it's not a 9.0, but I think it's a good fit for your collection. And I knew, it's almost heartbreaking to hear you have all this bronze stuff and you had that and you lost it and you can't find it and now prices are going up. You're not going to leave.
I know. And that's what
that's not right, man.
That was worrying me, because I was like, oh, I'm bidding on these low graders and they're like going $50, $60, $70, $80,
Oh yeah.
And I was
and
like,
at the cons, they're all at the top of the wall books now. It's getting ridiculous for that book.
Right. And I got this out of the quarter bin initially, and it was a pretty good copy. So
feel free to upgrade it at some point.
Upgrade it. This coming from you, this is, I'm taking this to the grave, buddy. This is not leaving my collection. No way, no how. And it's it means a lot. I mean that that you guys thought of me enough to do this. Thank you very much. I'm not at I'm usually not at a loss for words, as you well know, but I find it hard to be able to relate the appreciation I have for you guys. And the stuff is great, but the fact that you know me so well and you took time out of your day, you guys put a lot of thought into this. That means more than you guys will ever know.
No, you rock, Roger. We love you. Thank you for spending this last year with me on this show. And I know DS can speak for himself. and then we'll tell everybody what he means in the nicest way that he wanted to say it. But but for sure, we love you, Roger. You're a great guy, and nobody deserves it more than you. You're just awesome, and I want to thank you for being a part of the show and for joining on in the beginning and staying on. You're just really awesome, and everyone really. I feel like the entire community has not just benefited from you, but has enjoyed the time spent with you. You know, you can learn a lot from a lot of places, but it's hard to fall in love with those places. And the way that you enrich us with your comic knowledge and the fact that you would share that with us for free means a lot. And I think I speak for the majority of the community when I say thank you. And we want to wish you a Merry Christmas. DS, if you got anything to throw on that, you can.
Well,
and
I mean,
Hialeah, go right ahead.
I'm a man of few words when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, I didn't even put a note. That's why he didn't read it. I just packed up the stuff, and it speaks for itself. And yeah, I mean, when I got into I was getting into comics and watching YouTube videos, but I didn't really have any friends that were comics. I didn't really have any friends, period. But the first couple friends I got was really Bub and Roger. When we started doing the show together, started talking together. So I feel like you guys have been with me from the beginning as becoming a serious collector. So, I really appreciate being able to help out Roger with some books that I know he will really appreciate, and especially one that he desperately needs to fill a hole that tragically was unemptied. It was emptied because he had it at one point and lost it. So, yeah, you totally deserve it, Roger. And I don't give out a lot of gifts. I don't even celebrate Christmas. We don't celebrate it here. So I'm not a big gift guy or Christmas guy or holiday guy, but you definitely deserve that. I was happy to be able to do that for you.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Wait.
I want to thank everybody.
No, wait. It's my turn. I got to go.
Go ahead, bro.
I've only been on YouTube, not even a year yet. It'll be in a couple of weeks. And I got to say, I'm so happy I put my name as I put Hialeah in my name. Because Roger was one of the first guys that reached out to me called me out when I was in a chat, and that meant the world to me. And he's always been so nice, and just a class act, man. Just a class act. I can't say any. Just class act. It meant the world to me when you called me out and welcomed me, and it was crazy, man. It means a lot to me.
Well, and look at where you have grown into. You're now a fixture in so many different chats and live streams and programs. You have your own show with Javi. I mean, you have really immersed yourself in the community. You've been a great contributor. I couldn't be prouder of if I had like a shall we say, somebody that take over for me, you would be, a great, protege, I think, because you have a passion about you. You're obviously, you grew up in the same place that I did. You were there through the Cocaine Cowboys, through Mariolitas, through the, through the invasion of the Central Americans, all that stuff that we had to go through that nobody else would be able to sort of know unless you lived there and you went through that. And we came out the other side, brother.
Yeah, we did.
And this, to me, having you and DS and Bub in my life has really enriched it to a degree that I never thought it would be achieved. If Bub just out of the blue one day says, "Hey, I'm starting a chat, and I thought of you, and I want you on," and I was like, "Me? You're talking? You're sure you know who you're talking to, right? I'm just some scrub that has 200 subs here, And he believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself, And DS, has constantly been there supporting and taking us to another level with his knowledge and his just incredible perspective on things that are, to me, are mind blowing. That I consider him, way above my league. But thank you, everybody in the chat, and of course everybody here. you know, I almost feel like I'm being roasted here, but but really
That's every week, right?
That's every week with Bub. True enough. But guys, you know, I mean, thanks is just, it seems so, so little to say at times like this. You know, when I've been doing this for over a year, like you said, you couldn't take me out of here, Bub. I'd go down there and change your mind, drive down there to Kentucky myself if I had to. If you said I couldn't be on here more, because every week, this is one of the main things that I look forward to be out here with the community and talk about the things that we're passionate about, that we love, and that we love to talk about. So you're giving me an outlet for something that has always been inside of all of us. Mm-hmm. So thank you all for everything said here today, everything given to me, but mostly for the friendship that you have given me. That means more than any possession I have.
I think both big well.
Thank you. I tell the story every now and then, but I'll tell it real quick. And that's just that I remember a quote from when I was growing up. One of my favorite bands was Dave Matthews Band. I say when I was growing up, I was probably a little older than growing up, but whatever. Was Dave Matthews Band. And when they asked Dave Matthews how he assembled his band, he said, I went out and got the best musicians I could get. I went out and got everyone that I thought was way better than me. And I thought, if I get all those guys together in one room, they'll make me look good. And that's what I did. I went out and I sought out Roger and DS because I thought them to be the two most knowledgeable guys who had a personality that was nothing like mine, nothing like each other. And I thought that we could all three get together and have a unique perspective each, and that would make for a unique show. And I'm just so glad that they said yes. So thank you guys for being on this ride. It's been fun, and hopefully we'll continue it on for quite a while longer. So thanks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Copa will get us down. Copa will get us down. Let me tell you, we'll live through it. We'll see the sunshine at the other end of the rainbow sooner or later. Yeah,
and this is still remains my comic highlight of the week, as it has been since the first time we did this. And we've been going for quite a while, and it's still that way for me. So really awesome. I appreciate both of you and the guests we have. And tonight, Hialeah is here to share with us, and this is awesome. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. We got to shut it down. We're going to be late. Mrs. DS has got the rolling pin at the door. Roger's got a dog that's got to go get parked, whatever. He calls it parking the dog. I don't know what that means, but as long as he does it outside of the Meta Cave of Gratitude, I'm good with it.
Oh yes.
Who knows what Hialeah Comic Bro does all night? so let you guys go. Thank you all for joining us. DS, you wanna yell at the camera real quick and say your goodbyes?
Yep. Everybody, do your homework, and we'll catch you again next week. Thanks for being here.
Be good, all.
Thank you much. And Roger, you want to go next?
Yeah, great chat, guys. I really like the bullpen idea. You know, maybe we should do this again, and maybe for writers, you know, which would be our writers for the bullpen. Something like that. Yeah, and
I don't read.
Yeah, having Hialeah, Raul here just is so special. I didn't look at the email. I was kind of in a rush today, so that was a great surprise. I mean, what a fabulous surprise to find Raul here. Just, you know, one of my favorite people on this planet. And you guys in the chat, I'm sorry, I haven't been in the chat much. I've been somewhat distracted, as you may have known. But thank you. I'll try to wrap things up and be a little more coherent next week. But you know, I love you guys all. And when I say love, I mean that explicitly. I want the best for each and every one of you, and thank you for supporting us here in the chat for this year and a half. I think that we've almost been doing it, and yeah, we're going to be doing this in the future as long as Bub, you know, and I know him, you know, as long as Bub is going to be saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to take every precaution I can, because that's how exacting he is. Also, we will be doing this. We'll be here for you. We'll bring you as much as we can about the stuff that we love. So I know I was long-winded. I'm sorry. Good night, everybody. God, be blessed and be back.
That's absolutely. Thank you, Roger. And don't ever apologize for being long-winded. I'll do that for you. Okay. But in keeping with that, DS is usually very short and succinct, and Roger spins a yarn, and really between the two of them, I think it's a nice blend. So thank you guys. And Hialeah, I want to say thank you to you for joining us this evening. And would you like to say your goodbyes to the chat and to the panel?
Yeah, man. I've had a smile on my face since you reached out to me yesterday, Bub. The Beast. I've had a smile all the last 2 days, man. And what an honor being here. I can't believe I'm on with you guys. It was a little weird getting used to the no face, but man, what a great show. Thanks for everything you guys do. The knowledge is just crazy. Happy holidays to you guys, man. You guys, man, awesome guys, man. And thank you for the chat. And wow, I can't believe I'm on No Faces. Wow,
that's awesome.
You see what I mean?
Thanks,
about
brother.
Raul? You see what I mean? He's infectious. You know what I mean? You gotta love this man. There's not one part that you cannot love of this man. He is just so awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, well, I want to thank Hialeah Comic. Oh, there he is. Thank you all for being on the chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you all to everyone out there in YouTube land. We'll catch you next week on the No Faces Comic Chat. And until then, read a comic and don't apologize for the glare. Catch you later. Bye-bye.